So things are moving pretty slow with the GTO and at the moment, but things are moving pretty quick for my friend Ivan with his 1969 Ford F100. So today I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that project, kind of introduce it. I think it's pretty cool. You know, it's a muscle truck, but yet, gasp, it's not a C10. So let's start off with just kind of a little bit of background and the concept of the build. Now, Ivan wanted a muscle truck that could handle, he could take to an autocross and enjoy driving around kind of the windy roads of Appalachia. He lives in Tennessee, so he's not far from the tail of the dragon and all that fun stuff. Now he's never had anything this old. He really wanted the challenge. He's kind of like me. He's been predominantly a late model guy, and a lot of late model Mustangs, including Project Boosted Coyote, which is something I as well as some of my colleagues have also worked with him on, which is a single digit S550. Pretty cool car. This one, though, unlike that one, which is high-powered, street strip type of build, this one, he wanted an autocrosser. He hasn't had something like that in a little while, so he wanted to get back into that. Something he could take to the Ford Intergalactic Ford Fest, to different local autocrosses, like Good Guys and things like that. So, now Ivan has always liked F100s. Obviously, he's not 100% Ford guy, but he is mostly Fords. He's mostly into Fords, so we'll give him a pass for that. But when QA1 came out with their front and rear suspension about a year ago, it's SEMA and PRI. We just kind of felt like it was the perfect time to have an F100 project on Ford muscle. And he found this truck, which is a 1969 Ford F100 short bed. It had an auto trans with a 390 FE. But he really liked the patina on the truck, wanted to keep that, didn't want to go into, body work and all that stuff. But so he really wanted to keep the patina, kind of have it kind of a little bit ratty on the outside, but underneath the truck would be all pristine sound stuff. So this truck was really ideal for that. And, he wanted, and we're going to be going through the entire chassis, all the suspension, brakes, powertrain, all that stuff is going to be upgraded. So that was basically the general concept for the build, and something that, and again, could be a great autocrosser. It could also be a great driver on the highway, and you could drive around the streets and around town and stuff in it. So the key partners on this build are going to be Silver Sport transmissions, Silver Sport SST. You may have heard of them. I'm actually working with them on my build. And SST didn't actually have an F100 kit prior to this, but Ivan brought his truck to them when it was bone stock, and they built their kit, off of this truck. So the kit, basically, it's a 6-speed T-56 Magnum based kit that, comes with a cross member, clutch, hydraulics, shifter. It's pretty plug and play kit, just like mine was. It also comes with a QuickTime bell housing. That's an SFI bell housing, and that'll bolt right up to the FE transmission. The next major partner on this build is going to be Holley. We got a Sniper fuel tank for this truck. Really trick stuff. Actually, it's a Mustang tank that helps Ivan relocate the tank. I believe they're under the cab in these trucks, so it moves it all the way back to to underneath the bed. So very cool stuff. QA1, of course, major partner on this build. We're doing their full front and rear suspension. Front suspension is actually like a full subframe setup. So it includes a rack and pinion. And I believe we have like Mustang spindles on this thing. So pretty cool setup. And, you know, and in the rear, really cool stuff. It's actually a panhard bar and a torque arm setup. So it's got lower control arms and the panhard bar, you know, across the top to control the side-to-side movement and locate the rear end. And then it's got the torque arm that goes down the middle. And I believe it actually has a little bit of a slider action. That way, when you hit the brakes hard, the axle has a little bit of room to move, as opposed to getting that like axle hop as can sometimes be common with torque arm setups on a, you know, in hard braking. Strange is the next partner. Strange is going to be basically completely overhauling the 9-inch. This truck came with a 9-inch, but obviously it's pretty spent. It's going to need a new diff, gears that are going to work with our engine combo, and our nice double overdrive transmission, and you know, obviously some fresh axles. So yeah, I don't want to give away too much on that, but that's going to be pretty cool. And then Baer is going to be working with us on the spindles on the front, as I mentioned earlier, and then on that rear end, something that'll bolt right up to that rear end. So that'll be a nice big brake kit that's going to fit the F100. We've actually got some nice 18-inch wheels from Rocket brand to go to, you know, kind of match the big brakes and the fit over the brakes. So more on that info coming soon. Finally, the other major partner on this build is Ford Performance. I don't want to give away just yet what the engine combo is, but obviously, you know, this 390, which you can see from the pics, is pretty tired. So that wasn't going to stay in there. So we've got something pretty cool lined up. So stay tuned for that. Let's talk about the current state and kind of where to find the content. Now, at this point, Ivan has removed the cab and the bed from the frame. He actually boxed in some sections of the frame that were not fully boxed in to add a little bit of strength there. And then he went through and did any other welding that he needed. There's some holes that he filled in the cab, some other areas on the frame. So once the frame was all kind of prepped and ready to go, he then actually took the frame over to a buddy of his locally who did the powder coating. The frame is powder coated Kingsport gray, and he's also going to powder coat the radiator support and the inner fenders as well. The gray would basically, as you probably saw earlier, the QA1 suspension is all black, so he wanted something that would offset that just a little bit. I think it came out great. You know, so at this point, we're also awaiting the next round of parts, including the engine and the rear end. So then once that stuff comes, he'll be able to drop the cab and the bed back onto the frame. And then hopefully these brakes get here soon and some tires, and this thing will be a roller. So that'll be pretty exciting. Now, the transmission story is the first story that's on deck. That'll probably go live as early as this week. And the impressions, or there's going to be a video on the impressions and info on the swap too included in that, that Silver Sport did for us. And then next month, we'll have the fuel system, and then we'll start to get going on the QA1 suspension. So stay tuned for all of that content and more on FordMuscle.com. Thanks very much.